For this series, I'll assume that you have a action camera like this Drift HD Ghost that I use. You connect it to the computer via this USB port, like this cable, and simply plug it in. It'll appear on your computer as a removable drive, like so, and you'll find your video clips inside here. You want to copy these video clips onto your computer, so copy, paste onto your computer, because editing them on the camera will cause all sorts of problems because it's rather slow to access them on the camera compared to, say, your computer. Okay, once you've copied them onto your computer, find something interesting to put on YouTube. So for the example, we're going to use a filtering clip that I used in my Weekly Fun 5 video, which is this one, and we're going to cut out the boring bits where I don't filter, like there's a junction here, and also slow down this bit here where this guy decides to try and join but doesn't because he finally sees me. So yeah, we want to cut out this bit because too many people chopping and changing lanes because there's a junction coming up, and I'm a little bit. Yep, there goes the junction. So we probably want to cut in after this junction and I start filtering again. And we want to cut out me sat at the lights. So in the actual clip I cut it about there. Right, so we need video 202. So this is the Sony Vegas interface. You'll find a file browser which lets you find your video clips on your computer, preview window, and the actual tracks. Now you can have many more tracks, but this is the default that Sony Vegas puts in for you for each new video clip you make. And they're quite self-explanatory, so if we drag a video in, we're going to drag it into the video track, and the audio is going to go into the voice track. And it suggests to use this one for music and sound effects, but you could also add more in, insert video track, whatever. This is just a helpful hint to try and give you some guidance on you should separate stuff. Right, so we need 202, so we drag that in. You can see it's kind of putting some grey boxes in, and then we drop it into the video track. Now we have this, so first step is you can see if we move through the clip, the preview window changes. You want to set this dependent on your computer. I normally go for good half, but if you have an external screen like I do, you can turn this on, so you get a whole second or third screen as the preview window. So let's actually recut the video to where this van driver thinks about pulling out on me and decides not to at the last minute. So we want to kind of get rid of all of this bit of the video. So what we do is we press S for split. If you can't remember that, it's edit, split, and that'll cut the clip in two. Now you can move these independently, but what we want to actually do is just delete this. So press delete on your keyboard or right click delete. And now if we go back to the start of our video, it comes in at the correct place. And if we play it, you can see me shaking my head at him, and then in the actual video I start it now. But for this video we're going to play around with that van driver a little, because you know we all hate van driver and minibus drivers. Okay, so let's cut out some of the boring bits using this new splitting thing that I've just shown you. Okay, so I stopped filtering. Let's split it there. Let's wait until I start filtering again, because nobody likes watching boring videos. Here, S for split again, and then we can delete this separate clip in the middle, and we now have a full clip. And let's delete me sat at the lights, so let's say there. S for delete, S for split, delete it. And if you want to, if you think you've cut a little bit too much, you can actually just drag it using this. can actually drag the clip back out to make it longer. So I want a bit more of an intro because I want to fade in, and the way you fade in is hover your mouse cursor over the edge of the clip until you see this this shape and it says fade offset. You click and drag inwards. So I want a 1 second fade, so I'll aim for 1.3 will do. And if you preview that now, the clip fades in, and we want to fade out just because we're cool. So click and drag in for 1.3, like so. And we've done a fade. So we've done splitting, fading. Now let's speed up a bit. So let's just say I actually didn't want to cut all this boring stuff out, but rather speed it up. So what we can do is, I dragged it back out so I get more of the clip. You could just simply drag the whole clip in and split a new bit, but let's just say let's actually split this clip so we can speed up a little bit of it. So let's split it, move these apart so you can see it better. And what we want to do is we want to hover here but hold down Control so you get these little wavy lines. And now if I drag the clip smaller, rather than cutting the end off, it will actually compress it and speed it up. If I wanted to slow down, I would do the opposite. So let's speed this up a little. You can now see it's sped up. There is a limit on the amount you can speed up before it starts cutting stuff out, because it can't go fast enough. So let's leave that in there. What I really want to do is now slow down the van driver and maybe zoom in on him a little. It's not the totally most interesting thing, but it'll do. So what we want to do is we actually want to split this clip so we can actually do the slow down and zoom, because you can't do it because it will affect the whole clip. So we need to split out the little bit we want to do it on. So S, and then let's find where it ends. There we go. Maybe a little bit more. Now you can drag this using your mouse cursor, or you can use the arrow keys on your keyboard to get a bit more fine movement between the clips. So that'll do. Split. Let's drag these apart so we can see what we're doing. And if these clips are getting a little bit too tiny or too big, use these zoom things here for zooming in and out the timeline. Right, so let's slow this down. So we'll hover over the end, hold down Control, and drag out. So we've now added 6 seconds to the clip, and let's just check it. And you can see it slowed it down and the audio at the same time. Now let's do a zoom, and you do this by hovering over Event, Pan, Crop. Click that and a window will appear. And then if you resize this outwards, that means a zoom out. But we want to zoom in, so we need to make it smaller. And this F shows what we're focusing on. So let's focus on this van here. Try and get him in the middle of the shot. If you move this window so you can see the preview. I'm using my other screen, which makes it slightly easier. Right, you'll need to make sure sync cursor is ticked here, because this is basically keyframe animation. So if we click here and move the clip, we want to resize this and this inserts another keyframe when you move it. So I really want to get a bit closer of a zoom on there. This isn't the best clip to demo it on, but there we go. So if we preview that, we can see we've zoomed in, slowed down the clip. Okay, so if we drag all our clips back together, so we can see a fade, and then it will now hit the van driver clip, the minibus driver clip with a zoom and slow down, and then we'll go back to normal filtering clip. Then we'll see the speeded up bit. Interesting, there's a biker that goes past very quick, so it goes meow. And then some filtering, and then a fade. Let's insert some text now. And in my actual video I insert some text about here, because I'm following this van thinking, oh, I'm in my car, but no, I'm actually on my bike. So let's insert some text of my thought as I suddenly do a shoulder check and start filtering. Now this text is rather big, so if you highlight it all, and you can use this to change the size. And you drag your text around by using your mouse cursor in the preview window. And you change the colour like that. Let's go with something, yeah, let's make it red. Right. You can animate the position of a text using the track motion over here, which I'll discuss later. But basically it will appear for as long as this block is showing and in the same position. So you probably want it to disappear about there. So if we preview that, you can see I do a shoulder check and start filtering like a boss. So let's insert an image. Now you want to save these to your computer first, and you just simply drag them in to the video overlay track, like so. Now this is right in the middle of the screen and we don't want that, we want it at the side, slightly smaller. So the way we do this is using the track motion, which I briefly mentioned. And clicking this shows this window. This is basically keyframe animation, where you change it slightly and the computer will help you between your 2 points. If I moved it, make this smaller. You want to have lock aspect ratio checked and sync cursor checked, so that if you move the video clip here, it will also move in the window. So if we make this smaller, and we'll move it off screen to show the keyframing. So we want it off screen and then it will pop up as we start filtering like a boss. So the way we do this is, now we'll move the actual clip forward and then we'll say, yeah, that's a good point. So we'll make sure it ends there and we'll drag this up. So see it inserted another frame. And between these two frames, the computer will move the image the best it can. So if we move this up, the computer will move the image for us. It'll move it for us, so it will pop up, having a pop-up effect. So now if we preview that, we'll see it moves it between the 2 points for us. And we probably want to have a little bit. This is the thing, you want to make sure you have your image where you want it before you start animating it, because if you start dragging it around, the keyframes just kind of don't really work. So if we can delete that keyframe, delete that one as well. So we want it to end up here and then have a few seconds on the screen full display, because it kind of just slides up and then disappears instantly. There. So now if we preview that, yep. So there we've shown text and images. Sound effects wise, you can insert stuff into the sound effects tracks. You'll want the MP3 files on your computer though. So if we insert a sound effect a la Orca GT, so he uses the Metal Gear found sound, which if you've never played the game, I feel really sorry for you. So what will happen is if we insert the thing like that, you'll notice that the sound effect plays. Rather simple. And then you can just drag it around until you get the right place. So ideally we'd show the exclamation mark here to go with the sound effect, but I've already shown how to insert images and such. The last things to do is to send it to YouTube. And you do that by rendering it to your computer. You select the one based on your camera. So I have a Drift HD Ghost and I film all my stuff at 1080p 30 frames a second. So I want this one. If I had, say, filmed it at 720p at 30 frames a second, I'd want this one. And then the other settings I found in Sony Vegas are kind of less ideal for YouTube, because this is already quite big and will take an hour or so to upload. For, well, on my internet for 10 minutes it's probably an hour. So a weekly fun video takes me about 25 minutes to upload. So you render that to your computer and then upload it to YouTube. I will discuss in a separate video how to hide your speedo, because that is quite an advanced thing, I'd say. It basically relies on the keyframe animations that we saw in this video, but inserting a lot more frames. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, just let me know and I'll either make another video or tell you in the comments how to do it if it's really quick. Thanks for watching.